kick it into the Saucerswap HBAR ecosystem project of the day. And before we actually get more into it, I know I asked you earlier, Elizabeth, about Saucerswap, but you know, is there anything else that kind of caught your attention that maybe we didn't discuss earlier?
About Saucerswap, I need to know more about it. I'm not even gonna front. I need to know more about it. I've seen it all over the place, especially lately, and it caught my attention. I pulled it up, looked super user friendly. I can see why people love it and like it, and because it has dealings with Hedera, of course, I'm gonna check it out more. But yeah, tell me more about it. I want to know, what has Max got on Saucerswap?
Well, I got quite a bit actually. And before we get actually into just Saucerswap specifically, you guys know how I do it. I got to give you a proper outline of the significance of exchange tokens. So let's start things off, in my opinion, the right way. And we're going to start things off by going to this right here. And it's going to start off with UnisSwap. Now, you may be wondering, why the heck would you start off with UnisSwap? Trust me, it's going to be a good outline. So look here. Here's the point. Opportunity, okay? And recognizing that we are still in the phase of crypto accumulation, and if anything, getting to the point of an actual bull market. Now, I have been looking at these cycles, and I get where Legrand commissions come from. He's always mentioned like Septembers are typically like bad months for crypto, but I'm also looking at September. What catches my eye is September of 2020, and specifically why then? Well, September of 2020, and then going into, for instance, November of 2021, that period of time was the last bull market, right? Where things start getting just going crazy. So as we know, 11/11, 2021, BTC all-time high, 69K, Ethereum, I think it was like close to 5K or something like that. It was crazy. But it's these exchange tokens that did very well on that run up, specifically like 2021. Here's an example. Here's UnisSwap. So look at this curve for a moment. You see, for instance, this thing started really climbing up in 2021. I remember getting into my first altcoin late January of 2021, which was Doge. I came in at a penny. You guys know the story. $300 investment, like 23K roughly in that area. And that was like, I got bit by the crypto bug. But that started in basically like January for me. Well, also at the end of January, this run up, right, seeing where we were with Uniswap, and then just really, really takes off, right, between January and March to April 2021. Now, you got to keep in mind, for people even like myself who are new to crypto, as far as altcoins, because I don't really count 2016 with my Bitcoin. I didn't have a full Bitcoin, but I had like a portion, but I don't really count that. Altcoins is where it was at for me. And that's why I'm here. Why I'm mentioning this to you is because there's going to be a lot of people that will come back into this space. I shouldn't say come back. Will be first time participants, if you want to call it that, like first time investors. I was like a first time altcoin investor. I came off the boat of Robinhood, as the saying goes. So, and something like Uniswap was so intimidating. It's like, I don't understand this. Like, like what you're talking about earlier, Elizabeth, like swapping, and going like, what Uniswap? This just seems silly, seems childish, compared to something like Robinhood, right? You just go there, you buy what you want, boom, done. But that costed me a lot of money. It probably cost me about a little over $100,000 because I knew about Shiba Inu right after Dogecoin, and I could have came into Shiba Inu at basically 6 zeros in a number instead of 5 zeros in a number. And while I did well with Shiba Inu, I put in 8K and it became 88K, and I'm not complaining about that, but I am complaining about that it could have been like 150,000, 200,000. and that is a problem. So my point is this: people that knew about these swaps, these decentralized exchanges at the height of a bull market, they go there and they invest in, for instance, meme tokens, you name it. But these platforms do significantly well at the height of a bull market. How so? Is this the only example? Well, no. I've also talked about, for instance, UnisSwap, once they go to a V4, has 99% savings on gas fees. So at the height of a bull market, what do you think is going to happen with UnisSwap? That's why I would tell all you guys, never financial advice, but this is what I'm doing. Have a little bit of UnisSwap. You're going to see some big things, especially at the height of a bull market. So getting more into this, here's another example I want to get into about exchange tokens. Here's PancakeSwap. Again, same example, right? January 2021, and this ride up all the way up to, like, for instance, March, April, May, right? Same type of thing. More people get on PancakeSwap. Why? Probably because all the people complain from UnisSwap saying, my God, ETH gas fees, I'm going to go with this other platform for my meme tokens and so on, and I'm not going to get hit with these big fees. Supply and demand, boom, PancakeSwap. It's another example. Check this out. Let's take you over to, obviously, LCX. Now, LCX is not a decentralized exchange. It's not a DEX, but it is a centralized exchange, right? But the point is supply and demand for exchange tokens. So what you want, LCX is an exchange token. And of course, it's been around for a while, right? It's been around for, my God, I mean, all-time lows was back in 2019. It's been up, I mean, I can't even count this. What is this? Like 218,000% since then. My God.
Whoa.
So,
how high did it?
Well, it went up to about 48 cents.
Nice.
And again, look at that, November 2nd, 2021. So 11/11/2021 was the height of BTC, 69K. But the point is this: look what happened recently with LCX. Like my investment of $1,500 is worth $4,200 now, right? Let me just double check where I'm at. I'm at 41.57. So I'm not complaining about that, right? Yeah. So again, this run up, and we're not even at the full height of the bull market, and that's LCX. Now, some people are like, I don't get where this is going with the whole thing of Saucerswap. We're going to get with that. The point is supply and demand and recognizing market cycles and where we're going. Showing you guys a little bit more in regards to this. Take a look into this. This is Kucoin, okay? Another, centralized exchange token. Kucoin, for instance, same type of thing, right? You see, for instance, the start of the bull market, late 2020, boom, going up, doing some big things by April. So this jump from $1, or not even $1, like under $1, to like 4 months later, like this is roughly a little over, not just 10x, that's like an 18.5x right there. Then it goes higher by the end of the bull market. and guess what, guys? I mean, this is Kucoin. A lot of people were staking there. It was very, attractive for staking. Okay. Like, I found out about Clearpool. Clearpool's, aka Cpool, had real lucrative staking. I mean, I was staking like, oh my gosh, I think it was like 175% APR at some point, and which is just crazy. But the point is, people come in here, they see those crazy yields that they can get, and they stake. All right. Now let's bring you to, for instance, Saucerswap. And this is where you really need to pay attention to this stuff, because again, we're all into this to make money, obviously. And so many times I try to connect the dots for you guys and talk about, like, hey, this guy's, this outfit's connected to this and so on. And here's what happened many years ago. But this is a good example. And I think as though it really applies full-heartedly to, what Hedera is doing, but especially when it comes to a decentralized exchange, the supply and demand for this particular exchange, and especially what you're about to see here. And what you are about to see here is recognizing this. So that chart looks great, up 243% since this all time. You got to keep in mind, this started back in June 9th of 2023, only 8 months ago, was the all-time low, I should say, not where it started. If you would have came in on that entry point during crypto winter, You'd be up 732% on this.
Wow.
All-time highs was only 6 days ago. It almost touched 10 cents. So we're talking about huge supply and demand for this particular exchange token. And why highlight tonight other than as part of the Hedera ecosystem? Well, I'm going to share that with you. So for one, this was what really grabbed my attention and why I will not stop shutting up, or I won't shut up about this moving forward. I will consistently cover Saucerswap. Shout out to Tim Shea, shout out to Goo, all you guys that said, Max, you gotta research this more. And that is this right here. The max supply is only 1 billion. And when I saw that, I said to myself, my God, look at how many projects that we're into that's right around like the same price that has, like, for instance, you know, maybe 1 trillion tokens or
trillions.
right, or 100 billion. This only has 1 billion on that max supply. What about the market cap? Do we have a confirmed market cap? Well, we don't, according to CMC, but according to what they posted, it's 49 million. So you want to talk about, you know, the potential to see like a low market cap gem do some big things. I think this is where it's at. Some people will point out, well, the supply, I don't like the idea that we're not towards the 80% mark, like, you know, because Elizabeth, I used this example in the past of you don't want to chase a token or a coin uphill. If it's got like, you know, 79, 80% or higher, it's a little bit less risk. But what's the magic factor here, Elizabeth? The magic factor here is, yeah, that would apply really, like, particularly towards tokens and coins that have trillions out there, or 100 billion, but this only has 1 billion. So I think we're good. I think even at 60% self-reported circulating supply, that's not bad. You know, like a little bit less risk. You know what I mean? All right. So here's the other thing I want to show you guys. As far as where you can get this, you can get it on MEXC if you choose to do so. I would go with Saucerswap personally. And there's a lot of pairings are here. You can pair it with HBAR, all these other ones, right? Here's some more, right? There's a whole grocery list of stuff here. But I want to take you now to this over here. And this is a video. And this guy has been featured on HBAR Bull. Shout out to HBAR Bull. It says, Rob's excited for the now and more so for the future. He's crazy excited for the HTS ecosystem, which has been doing a 5x more in returns. This is another reason I want to bring it to your guys' attention. Hedera's wallet infrastructure, and he is blown away by Hedera's #1 DEX, Saucerswap. He challenges anyone to find a better DEX. And this, listen to this. Even if you're talking about, as I would say, you guys joke around, Carolina pogo sticks. You guys always joke around about that. The key thing here is you're here for a reason, not just to, you know, give dabs to your broskies and your sisters and stuff like that and joke around. You're here to make money, right? Supply and demand. The #1 DEX, I researched this more and I was blown away, and I came to the conclusion that of all the ones that are DEXs, this one takes the cake. I know I sound kind of hyped and excited because I am. So this guy challenges anyone to find a better DEX. Well, how so?
Price.
Let's go ahead and share this. This guy, pay attention to what he has to say. And he's even been featured like on Bank Social and stuff like that. But I'm going to play this. This is only 2 minutes and 4 seconds. And then after that, Elizabeth, I want to get your key takeaway. Listen to this, guys. Here we go.
Never talked about the price. HBAR price is almost irrespective. I know everyone loves to talk about it. I love to talk about it. But, you know, they stick to the technology and stay your course, right? And the values are of, you know, respect for others, respect within the community, and respect across communities, because we're still really early. Web3 is really early. And just look what's happened with DREC, right? So, you know, the DREC Alliance, who would have thought, you know, just a few months ago that we'd be on a stage, Lehman would be on a stage with, you know, the Algorand Foundation announcing the DREC Alliance, that we'd have Wallet Connect and MetaMask snaps and all the interconnectivity that we're doing. You know, our amazing wallets in Hashack and Blade are, you know, some of the best experiences in the whole of Web3. I mean, our DEX is, I mean, Saucerswap, you know, is one of the slickest, easiest, most compelling DeFi and X experiences across the entire Web3 space. I defy anyone to try and go back to UnisSwap or SushiSwap or any of the others after experiencing Saucerswap. And then for the Hedera ecosystem, I think we've got such an amazing year ahead. I mean, we're just talking about the noise that we're seeing, the ups and downs, the 5x, 10x tokens, all of the emerging projects in the HTS economy. I think that's super exciting. These are just the opening shots, right? Yeah. This isn't the bull. I mean, those of us who have been through bulls, this is not a bull. This is the initial rumblings of the stomach of a bull that's just waking up, right? This is nothing. This is nothing compared with what's to come. So that's super exciting.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than just this, but I mean, those statements, and especially somebody like him and his background, that's pretty bold to just say that. I mean, he's not just saying it because he's connected to Hedera. I got more into the research, and I decided to share it with all of us. But I wanted to get somebody like your takeaway just on the surface so far.
Yeah, just from watching that video right there, it does sound like there's a lot of, networking, the partnerships. But my question was, he brought up Hashack and he brought up MetaMask. And so I'm kind of curious, like, why he brought those two up in that video. But it just sounds like they're ready, set, go, 10 toes down for the bull market. It sounds like they got everything all set up. They got the house built. They got everything going for them. And it sounds like they're just waiting for the world to find out about them. So, but what were they saying? What was he saying about the MetaMask? Did he say, is that what he said, right?
Right. And, I'm going to get into some of that stuff like towards the end in regards to my summary, because it's going to share why that's significant. Okay. Like your UnisSwaps and some of these other platforms that everybody's used in the past at some point. We were talking about these cycles. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, where are we also now in? We're in an election year. Last particular cycle, election year. So it's like, this is where I'm leaning towards. Big things can happen at the end of this year, but especially all the way out to the end of 2025. I think there's money to be made, and there might be ones that like really pop off. Like I'm really hoping Filecoin just does big things by the end of the year, but I realize not everybody's invested into that. But the way I look at it is, like I'm so excited and I just can't hide it. And I'm not going to rhyme anymore, but anyway.
No, it's true. It's election year. And you were saying earlier, because I had asked your opinion, what you think. And you said black swan events can happen anytime though. So somebody had asked Elon Musk said, I hope he took profits. And that's the thing too. It's like, you never know what's going to pop off. We all got to make our plan. And that's the only thing that's going to keep us safe at this point with our bags packed. Accumulation is keeping that plan. And that's the only thing that's going to keep us safe. So when you brought up like that could happen, so we got to be careful. And then you're bringing up election year. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, right. It sounds bullish in itself. I mean, everybody's got to do what they got to do. Just make sure you have a plan, especially if you're new to it. And I will state this: if you're brand new and this is your first time ever connected to like a show or just being exposed to the whole thing of crypto, watch out for content creators, and I'm not going to mention any specific names, that will say something at the height of a bull run. Oh, I haven't sold any tokens or anything like that. Like, huh? What are you doing?
Really?
Yeah, it's like, what? Yeah, really? Like, what the heck are you doing? Because I mean, you got to watch out for some of these guys, because some of them will say that and they'll be like, well, I'm into this for the real long-term vision. I'm only going to, sell 25% of my bag or something like that. And it's just like, why? I'm just saying, and you got to watch out for some, because these people, they're more interested, I hate to say it, in their views and keeping up with those views. Me, I'm like, who cares? If you're doing well in the bull market and you're properly invested, you're going to complain about it. I don't know, like $1,000 or whatever it is from YouTube revenue. Give me a break. I mean, so always be wary of people like that. Anyway.
Well, why is anybody going to buy UnisSwap token? Like, what does that even do? When there's already a swap, what's the token going to do? Like, how does that even bring any value? The actual token. It's like, that's a good argument. So anyway,
It's
off of Uniswap.
no, it's
Sorry.
okay. It's supply and demand. So like currently speaking, people still go to Uniswap, especially when it comes to like their meme tokens and so on, because they still have a bunch of ETH in their, you know, like a bag of ETH for whatever. But again, there's not a lot of like price movement in regards to Uniswap. But again, it's not a challenge, but do it. Go to Google, type in Uniswap V4, research it. It's just real. It's a quick summary, and what stands out is when they get to this V4 on their platform. Like, you know, there's Uniswap V2, V3, V1s, right? But that V4 at the height of the bull market, and when V4 is done, and like there's a lot of even new investors coming in and new NFTs and, you know, new meme tokens. Let's be honest, it's going to exist until like, you know, proper regulation comes through. They will go to the platforms where they could save money or what they're used to. And if people come to the conclusion like, my God, did you hear about Uniswap? Oh, what happened? What's the big deal? 99% savings on gas fees. Whoa. You know what I mean? So that brings a whole influx of people. And again, just like stocks, like supply and demand kicks in, then that's what caused things to go parabolic. That's the perspective I'm looking at it is like, why would I want to get into it after things go parabolic? That's how you get wrecked. You know,
so you're looking at it like a stock. I like that. Like in a sense, kind of.
Well, I always say to people,
Right?
I said, you know, all this stuff is about utility in motion. You know, we can brag about what utility we have, but is there anything going on with that? You know what I mean? It's like I always use this analogy. It's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I'm sure you've seen that, right? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Cameron, you know, his dad has that you know, was it 1969 or whatever it is, Ferrari, California, and it's just sitting there, right? It's just sitting in that garage, and he's like, you know, he's like, I come over and I clean it with a diaper. I'm like, why would you use a diaper anyway? He cleans it with a rag of some sort, but it just sits there in a garage and doesn't have much miles, and nobody's driving it. And it's like, well, what the heck's the point of that, you know? So is that utility in motion? Is that car in motion? No, it's just a nice, awesome looking car that has, you know, high performance and all cool stuff, but just sits there. A lot of these cryptos, it's like you can have the greatest crypto, you know, utility in the world, but if you don't have the connections, you don't have the partnerships, you don't have squat, or let's say you do, but nothing really happens, then it just sits there. People always complain about price movement, not understanding the bigger picture, that it's the utility. And that's why we put so much emphasis on the utility, because it literally needs to be like a gear in motion, you know, and constantly in motion. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kick it back to the main topic of the night, obviously Saucerswap. But yeah, let's get back into this outline. So we shared the whole thing of supply and demand in regards to the concept of like exchange tokens. Let's take you over to actually what Saucerswap is all about. So for one, this is their site. And you can go to it on saucerswap.finance. And just like Elizabeth and I were talking about earlier in regards to like Uniswap and, you know, are you used to that? Well, yeah, this is like, you know, like other swaps, but it's not just like any other swap, but it's familiar. The basic familiar features of using this particular platform. You can connect your wallet and you could do some things just kind of like what you would do with the likes of Uniswap, PancakeSwap, and so on, right? Saucerswap, your gateway to real yields, open source, custodial crypto trading protocol on their network. A lot to be mentioned here, okay? But I'm not going to get into a super long deep dive that's going to take 2 hours to get into. What I want to bring to your attention is a little bit from a summary of the white paper. In my opinion, this is more or less like a light paper summary. So it's this part about the Saucerswap protocol. I will read this part verbatim. I want you to understand the significance about this. The Saucerswap protocol is a peer-to-peer system designed for exchanging cryptocurrencies, specifically HBAR and HTS tokens. So again, back to the whole thing of what you saw with BSL, you have a HBAR/BSL pairing. Pairings, as we know, are the enablers to, you know, purchase the particular asset that we want. Pairings create volume. Stable coins, of course, create volume. These are not necessarily stable coins, but think about it for a moment. This in itself will even allow significance for HBAR, even with its own price action, right? Because pairings, If we've done the research in the past in regards to like Circle's USDC paired with just about everything, or Tether USDT just about paired with everything, think about what HBAR is doing as we speak and the pairings with these other particular exchange tokens. Just think about that for a second. I just thought I'd throw that out. It states on this page that it prioritizes censorship resistance, security, self-custody, functions without the need for trusted intermediaries who may selectively restrict access. Saucerswap integrates the HTS, which is Hedera Token Service, achieved by modifying, and back to what we were talking about earlier, some of the questions you wanted to answer, Elizabeth, modifying UnisSwap smart contracts to interact with the Hedera smart contract service. Now, what does that mean for most of us that are here listening tonight? What it means for you is the enablers, bringing in contracts that maybe people like were sitting on for a while, or maybe just, for instance, things that didn't happen much in the past, but now like there's some updates. If you have a platform like this where these smart contracts from other particular competitors and so on can come in and interact with this, the HSCS, the Hedera Smart Contract Service, through, for instance, EVM, that is game changer. And just like that guy said in the interview, why he felt as though like nothing's gonna, nothing can compete. Like this is gonna blow everything away. Uniswap, all of it. This is one perfect example of that. This allows for rapid throughput, fast transaction times, low cost US dollar denominated fee structure. So even if you wanted to just bring your fiat in and do, for instance, like, some purchases and swaps and so on, without having an established HBAR with slash, like BSL and whatnot, you're still good, right? Because you do have that, which is, of course, mentioned right here. Hedera's architecture also ensures fair transaction ordering on Saucerswap, which nullifies the possibility of MEV attacks seen in Ethereum-based protocols like Uniswap. There are currently 2 versions of Saucerswap protocol that operate in parallel, and kind of similar to what people have seen with Uniswap, with your V1s, your V2s, the same type of concept, but building out and making things more efficient, more faster, more reliable. So before I get into a little bit more about this whole thing in regards to our outline, I want to basically just take a pause and talk about that one main part from that white paper that is so significant for you in regards to supply and demand, and why I'm sharing Saucerswap with you guys and why I'm so bullish on it. It's the part about MEV attacks. Now, Saucerswap leverages the Hedera token service, as we know, for its rapid throughput and low cost. Hedera's architecture ensures, of course, fair transaction ordering on Saucerswap, like we just outlined. But this whole thing of nullifying the possibility of MEV attacks seen in Ethereum-based protocols, at the end of the day, why does this stand out? Why should I share it with you guys? Well, basically, here's the reason. MEV, eliminating MEV. MEV is referred to as miner extractable value, if you weren't aware about it. It refers to profits that miners can extract on Ethereum by manipulating, listen to this, guys, transaction order. So all that talk you guys seen in the past about market manipulation. What if you can have a DEX like Saucerswap that eliminates that completely? Wouldn't that be game changer? I think it would be, and that's another reason why I'm bringing it to you tonight. This often, in regards to, MEV, harms regular users like you, me, Elizabeth, Tim Shea, Elon Musk, you name it, with front-running and back-running bots. How many times have you guys seen those meme videos where it shows, what's the guy called, like the Chad or whatever it is, and it shows him, and he looks like a troll or whatever, and he goes in and he buys, right, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy here, and then he's like, all right, I'm gonna sell here, and then it tanks. And he's like, how in the heck is that possible? It's done through this freaking thing called MEV. Now have I not grabbed your attention? So for Hedera, through Saucerswap, to eliminate the possibility of miners manipulating order, effectively nullifying MEV attacks on Saucerswap, that is a perfect example of supply and demand, especially for this particular exchange token. Now, there's 3 things I want to get into just real quick, actually 4, before I kick over to Elizabeth, because I want to hear what you think about this for sure. There's so much significance about this. And again, I will not stop talking about Saucerswap. I'm so incredibly bullish about this low market cap gem. So there's got to be fairness and transparency, right? No MEV ensures that all users have equal access to the exchange and prevents bots from unfairly taking advantage of others. Guys, I'm telling you flat out, you won't see hardly any manipulation at all. If anything, it's just kind of like Hedera's trying to be an exterminator of these bugs, these bots. Get them out of there for that, get the heck out of our Saucerswap, eliminating them from that market manipulation. What about the lower fees? Because comparing this particular DEX to other ones out there like UnisSwap is a huge, huge difference. By eliminating the need for high gas fees to compete with bots, Saucerswap offers significantly lower transaction costs compared to what? Ethereum-based DEXs. And Ethereum, let's face it, whether you're a fan of them or not, they have been killing it in regards to DEXs. Are we going to see a shift? I think so. Listen to this part. Faster transactions. Hedera, we know, has faster transactions, but their architecture also enables higher transaction throughput compared to Ethereum, and that is definitely going to lead to faster trade execution on what? The Saucerswap platform. In conclusion, what really, really stands out is that Saucerswap caters to users prioritizing in fairness, low fees, and transactions, fast transactions. And it could be particularly appealing to the average retail investor who's just now entering into DeFi. Number 2, the focus on Hedera's ecosystem. By building on Hedera, Saucerswap contributes to the growth of a fast evolving ecosystem and particularly focused on sustainability and just that enterprise adoption. And what's a perfect example? The enterprise of what? BSL. BSL. So with that said, I am so incredibly bullish on the likes of Saucerswap that I cannot stop talking about it. And I want to hear what you got to say.
Dang. I definitely am going to have to dip in on this. For one, let me say that because everything that you just brought up, and I wrote a few things down because it is a lot. It is a lot, but it's a lot for a damn good reason. So the MEV bots, they're going to come out with full force in the bull run. Like I don't think we've seen an attack of the bots like what we're going to see. If you don't have something to help you against them, you're not going to make it. That's my opinion. I've been saying that you need a bot, you need something to help protect you from the bots because they're going to tear you up. They will tear you apart. I've seen people drop like $3,000. Y'all have seen it on the Etherscan. $3,000, and all of a sudden they're sandwiched in. There's Jared from Subway, just got him. That's just, it's ugly. And so for that, in that sense already, right there's already some users. There's already some investors, checking it out with just that alone. The lower fees, lower fees already. That's going to get anybody's attention. People's attention that have been here in crypto for a while, and people always like sales. People who come into crypto, they're going to see these things. They're going to see like, oh, gas fees over here. Why am I going to go here when I can go over here? It would make no sense. So that's more mass adoption there. And then you have the fast transaction. Everybody knows that's like the most important thing. You got to have that. You just got to have that because it's not the most important thing. Don't tear me up, everybody, but it is super, super important because mass adoption. You don't want to be waiting 10, 20 minutes. Can you imagine telling your brother, your sister, your coworker, like, yeah, buy this. And then you just like go walk down the hall or you go to another office, you come back. Did it go through yet? Like, no, that doesn't work. So, but yeah, mass adoption, that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing with this. And of course, Hedera, anything that Hedera touches, I feel like turns to gold. Hedera does no wrong in my eyes. So those are the things that I like about Saucerswap. I'm loving it. Thank you.
No problem. I'm glad to bring it to you guys. And, the way I look at it is we'll continue to follow Saucerswap. There's huge upside potential You know, you guys are seeing examples in regards to just Hedera ecosystem, period. I mean, BSL, Mike Cornwell shared, you know, how he's doing. Tim Shea is doing pretty well. There's some of the other guys are obviously into it and so on. We'll obviously cover some of these other ones like Dovu. But for tonight, or I should say over the weekend, actually the last week, Saucerswap kind of took the cake for me. I was like, man, I feel so bullish on this, and I don't want to be on the sidelines on this one. I recognize that it's going to have huge upside potential. And to even have some of these guys that are like CEOs of some companies mention this, that's big in itself, because there's a lot of dexes out there that don't get that type of support ever. Yeah.
Because like we talked about earlier, in case some people missed it, you can copy code all day. You know, a dev can copy code, somebody can copy code, but they can't copy the networking and the partnerships that, you know, that you can bring, and what Saucerswap can bring, obviously. So very impressive. I see why you're so excited about this, sir.
Well, I was super excited, and I thought, you know, who better to have on the show to talk about some Saucerswap, right? You show the little alien, than a person that theme is space chick, right? You're, you know, space chick.
I get it. It makes all the world of sense now. I get it, everybody. I get why I'm here.
Right.
I love it. Now, this is a perfect one to dip in on. You are excited. I've been seeing your videos about it. I've been seeing you talk about it. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about Saucerswap, and this is why. So I'm glad I was able to come onto your show tonight. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. You're very welcome.